And wherever the avatars have graced the planet Earth, there the seeds of super consciousness have been sown. And you can see these thousands of Kailasa enlightenment ecosystems that have been established all over the world, with over 1 billion people enriched worldwide with the avatars blessings. Here are just some of a few of the enlightenment ecosystems established by the Supreme Court of Hinduism. Here you can see Adi Kailasa in Bangalore, the Kailasa in Tiruvannamalai, the Kailasa in Columbus, Ohio, in the US. More photos. The Kailasa in Columbus, and the Kailasa in Los Angeles, which was personally inaugurated by the Supreme Court. And more photos of the deities in Kailasa in Los Angeles, and the Kailasa in San Jose. More photos of Kailasa in San Jose, and the Kailasa in Seattle. Kailasa in Seattle again, more photos of the deities and Kailasa in Houston, Texas. And more photos of Kailasa in Houston, and Kailasa in Charlotte. Kailasa in New York. The Kailasa in Washington. The Kailasa in Toronto, which again was personally established by the people. And the Kailasa in Oklahoma. There's a blessing for the devotees in Oklahoma City, and Kailasa in Phoenix. Kailasa in St. Louis. Kailasa in Oman. Kailasa in Dubai. Kailasa in London. Kailasa in Scotland. The Kailasa in Netherlands. The Kailasa in Slovakia. The Kailasa in Belgium. The Kailasa in Luxembourg. The Kailasa in Austria. The Kailasa in Germany. Kailasa in Italy. Kailasa in France. The Kailasa in Switzerland. The Kailasa in Mauritius. The Kailasa in South Africa. The Kailasa in Ceylon, which was established in 2006 by the Supreme Court. The Kailasa again in Ceylon, and Kailasa in Hokur. The Kailasa in Putnam, all of the various Kailasas in Tamil Nadu, which were established by the Supreme Court itself. Kailasa in Varanasi. Kailasa in Rajabali, which was a very important energy sector in Kailasa in Nithyananda in Chennai, the Kailasa in Alankulam, the Kailasa in Chennai, Tambaram, Kailasa in Chennai, Avadi, the Kailasa in Chennai again, Kailasa in Melbourne, Kailasa in New Zealand, the Kailasa in Singapore, the Kailasa in Kuala Lumpur, the Kailasa in Guadeloupe, South America, to ensure humanity survives this Himalaya. The Supreme Consciousness Hinduism created the sovereign order of Kailasa with thousands of sannyasis with no discrimination against caste, creed, or religion. And the Supreme Pontificate of Hinduism initiated thousands into the Nithyananda spiritual healing. And those healers are actively healing millions all over the world today. And there have been over 2,500 satsang centers that have been established all over the world. This includes home temples, and they all act as de facto spiritual embassies of Kailasa. And the avatar inspired millions to reclaim their Hindu-centered freedom. Thousands of padayatras have been conducted by the Hindu diaspora worldwide, honoring the hard work of the Supreme Consciousness and the revival of Kailasa, silently preparing each being for what was to come. And to protect the devotees, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism planned a padayatra and executed it successfully. The devotees of Malaysia planned a padayatra and executed it successfully with thousands who participated, and the dying Hindu population in Malaysia being reinvigorated in 2000. And in every major festival from all over the world, devotees conducted padayatras out of their sincere devotion and love for the Supreme. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has enriched and reached over 1 billion people, and over 26 years of humanitarian services have been provided for the world, and there have been over 347 cities across 196 countries and 6 continents that have been reached, and the world's largest Hindu population, Hindu university, has been established in the US, UK, Slovakia, Switzerland, and Europe by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and over 1 billion free meals have been served for the humanity. And the Kailasa is the world's greatest digital Hindu nation with over 1 billion views. And you can reach us, you can connect with us on various platforms, including Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp, and you can visit our various websites, kailasa.org, nithyananda.org, nithyandahinduuniversity.org, Kailasa TV, and Nithyananda TV. And you can also use our Enlighten app, our application, which you can download on your phone and be constantly in touch and enriched. And here you can see the various cities and countries across the world that have successfully built communities with e-citizens. The various global initiatives provided by the Supreme Consciousness in Kailasa include holistic health, education, development of human potential, and by sharing the practical application of Hinduism, Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and its science of enlightenment, through which there have been various breakthroughs for humanity. The Supreme Council of Hinduism in Kailasa has been providing foreign aid through various platforms. And because of the Supreme Council of Hinduism, hard work, tireless hard work in enriching every being and to protect them from this failure, the Supreme Council of Hinduism has created these various ecosystems and has been compassionate to open up all of the Kailasas within India to prepare and to protect every being who wishes to quarantine themselves during this pandemic, during this pralaya, and to protect themselves in this spiritual womb. So if you are interested in protecting yourself with multi-layer quarantine during this pandemic, you can sign up at kailasa.org/kailasacare and avail this opportunity to protect yourself and your family. And as the Supreme Council of Hinduism has revealed again and again, and the Devi has revealed again and again, during this pandemic, during this pralaya, the only priority is to keep yourself alive. That is the only priority. So do take heed to the words of the Supreme Council of Hinduism and Devi yourself and protect yourself. With this, we will be concluding this segment of the program and be moving into the next segment where we will learn the various offerings that we can make to Devi Parashakti and how we can show our gratitude for Devi through these various offerings after receiving so many blessings, boons, and guidance from Devi. Let us see how we can connect with her more deeply. We will be right back after a very quick break.
I mean by the word Kailasa? Listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa. I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model communities. Kailasas, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Pitas all over the world. All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. This is a fundamental truth. Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. So don't keep quiet thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystem. I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy Hinduism by the principle of Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. When you protect Dharma, Dharma protects you. We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual prosperity will happen to the whole planet. We all have to coexist together.
Just be alive for next 3 years. Don't die within next 3 years. Just don't die within next 3 years. Be alive. Somehow be alive. I'm working sincerely. I will reach you somehow. Somehow I will reach you. It's my commitment to humanity. Just don't die within next 3 years. I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment. You manifesting the space, state, powers, being Paramashivoham. It is possible, and it is possible for you. Paramashiva will reach you with enlightenment science. I know he is going to do the job. Just be alive for next 3 years. Nothing else.
We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support, and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become Kailasian.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service, helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to complete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you aligning your diet, your attitude, your...
Nithyanandam, welcome back all of you for being with us for the Devi Parashakti Akashic reading program. Now, let us begin the next segment in today's program, the various offerings that you can make to Devi Parashakti out of your pure love and gratitude. In the Hindu tradition, whether it is our birthdays or our anniversaries, or if we are celebrating any occasion, or if we're celebrating the start of a new business or a new home, or even a new car, we always offer our gratitude at the feet of the divine and pay our respects, give our love, and ask them, request the gods and goddesses to join us, to protect us further, and to guide us further in our lives. We thank them and never take for granted their presence in our lives. That is what we ultimately respect, worship, and keep as sacred in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, practicing the presence of God, literally living the science of enlightenment. And through these offerings, through the offerings to Devi Parashakti, you can literally manifest that in your life and have that very same beautiful relationship with Devi Parashakti. So we'll have a various array of beautiful different offerings that are available to each and every one of you. And you'll see that you don't have to feel in any sense that you're not capable or they're somehow insufficient in order to make an offering to Devi Parashakti. And you'll see that it is a beautiful way that you can manifest the ultimate oneness in your life. And every single aspect of these offerings have such sacred context, such sacred significance, and each one will be peeling layer by layer and explaining to you so that really you can get down to the beautiful context of each ritual, of each seva, and you'll be able to ultimately understand the significance of these offerings and start to take steps today to manifest those offerings in your life. Manifest this ultimate pure relationship with the divine in your life. Now, an offering is a giving of a divine gift of pure love, devotion, and oneness. And it consists of two parts, giving and accepting. Only when the divine accepts what one offers, the offering becomes complete. An offering is not made out of fear or out of greed. It is an offering of pure love and gratitude. And when an avatar descends on the planet Earth, the offerings are purely a part of the grand Leela played out for the only purpose of enlightenment. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has beautifully described all of the offerings that are made available through the Nithyananda Paramashivam Devalaya until you can manifest your reality, and your reality manifests as you want it. We will manifest it for you through these offerings. And that is ultimately the context of each and every one of these offerings and what you can manifest in your life. So before entering into the segment today, let me first chant the Dhyana Shloka for Manonmani, who is the very embodiment of compassion and the loving form of Devi Parashakti on the very lap of Paramashiva. Hindu nivabeda karavahni nayanam syat pankajavaraabhaya japaksha sarayuktam angahima bhushana vichitra vasanam syat tunga mukutojvala manonmani swarupam. And now I'll be describing the English translation. Here it beautifully describes Devi Parashakti, her various grace. It says, the moon-like face, holding the Vedas on hand, fire in eyes, with lotus flower gracing and blessing, and one hand with the Japamala, beautifully decorated with jeweled ornaments and wonderful clothes and shining bright crown, Her name is Manonmani. Once again, this is from the Moolagama, it's the Manonmani Dhyanam. And I'll be chanting the next verse, the next Dhyana Shloka. Dhyaye devim trinetram shashini bhavadanam vedahastam dadanam stavye padmam varanamapare chabayam chakshamalam divyera varana vibir vibhushitatanam brahmadibit pujitam devimeva manonmanim pratidinam kamatra dhatrim shubham. And once again, the English translation says, I meditate on Devi with 3 eyes glowing like a moon and holding the Vedas, lotus and gracing with a blessing and gracing hands. She is wearing beautiful ornaments and she is worshipped by Brahma and other many gods and showers auspicious boons for all actions every day. Yes, and now let us enter into the significance of the element gold. Now that we have established and invited the presence of Devi Parashakti amongst us right now, there is a very beautiful reference from the Atharva Veda where it speaks on the virtues of gold, the power of gold, beyond what we even can think. So I'll just be reading out the translation. It says, triply born by birth is this gold. From the atoms of Agni is one. It becomes dearest to Agni. And one fell away from the Soma when it was hurt. One they call the seed of virtuous and powerful Apaha, the watery molecules. Let that triple gold be for your long life. Now, in our day and age, in our society, we always place value in gold. We do have a lot of value in gold, and we always use it to give gifts to our loved ones, especially on Mother's Day, on birthdays, on anniversaries. We give gifts in gold to our significant others, to our mothers, our fathers, everyone who we have so much of value in that relationship. But we don't understand necessarily the higher significance in offerings and making a gift in gold, and what is actually the significance behind gold. It's not just an economic value, it's not just a precious metal, but it is capable of something called spiritual alchemy. It's a divine element. It's capable of purifying anything that it touches, and it's an element of spiritual significance, of great spiritual power, of healing and enlightening. The vibration of gold has the power to infuse sattva energy and positive thought currents in anyone who wears and anyone who operates in its vicinity. And therefore, having recognized this significance, the Vedic rishis literally used this, the element gold in all different aspects of the civilization, whether it is gold present in the scriptures, the agamas, the Vedas, the Shrutis, the Smritis, the Itihasas and Puranas, and or being abundant and being displayed in all of the various different architecture. The Hindu civilization was literally built in gold, and everything was even exchanged in gold. The ritual fees were offered in gold bricks. And even when one was to be saved from life-threatening diseases and illnesses, gold was used as a ritual fee. Gold was in abundance and used for weighing equivalent amounts of commodities, including cows, and kingdoms were built with huge doors of gold. The streets would have huge columns and huge archways made of gold, and horses and cows were dressed in gold. And each of these sentient beings lived in coexistence in the civilization and were even worshipped and adored as the very embodiments of the pure consciousness, gods and goddesses themselves. So in the Hindu civilization, it thrived on the banks of rivers of gold. In fact, the Indus river was called the Hiranyamayam, the river of gold, and the river Saraswati was called the Hiranyavartani, and this is in the Rig Veda and the Atharva Vedas, respectively. So gold is known and understood as a supreme element for offering gifts to the ones that you love and revere. And now it has a deeper significance. It's not just a element of precious metal that we use for giving gifts, but it has so much of value, the superconscious value that that is associated with it, that our Vedic rishis had literally understood in a very deep and significant way. And that's why it was applied in all different areas of life. And ultimately, this very science is what contributed to the richness of the Hindu civilization, which attracted people from far and wide. We know of all of the different books and magazines, as well as records from various different civilizations of the people who come and are absolutely in awe of the civilization in the Hindu civilization, which was so rich and which had gold in all different directions, and that attracted them ultimately to come and be invited inside of the civilization. And so much that how the entire civilization literally boomed and thrived during this period. And at this time, even the Hindu economy was the most contributing economy to the global economy. And that lasted for 1,000 years until the Mughal and British invasion, at least as per the records that we have right now. So it is established that gold has such extreme significance. It is a very, very powerful element. And it has so much of sacredness associated with it, sacredness that it is literally exuberating. Therefore, gold is a very auspicious metal, auspicious offering that you can make to Devi Parashakti today. You'll be able to see how many of the following offerings will be offerings made of gold. And there'll be different ornaments, different jewelry pieces that are also very traditional and very significant in Sanatana Hindu Dharma as well. So let's begin now with the various different offerings that we are having available for you to offer today. The first offering is the E-Hundi offering. All of us Hindus know that it is a part of our Hindu experience, the temple experience. When we go to the temple, we often put a few coins or a couple of paper receipts or the dollars into the plate of the pujari, or we offer it into what is called the hundi. And this is just a general donation we make out of gratitude and to the gods and goddesses for making themselves available and putting in so much in order to make themselves available for thousands and thousands of years. And that is the beauty of the hundi offering. And not only that, Devi Parashakti accepts everything that you offer, any devotion that you offer. And this is referenced in the Lalita Sahasranamam, where Devi Parashakti is described as Bhakti Priya. And in this, that means the adorer of all devotion. And there is this verse, I'll just be chanting the whole verse. Bhakti Priya, Bhakti Gamya, Bhakti Vashya Bhayapaha, Shambhavi Sharadaradya, Sharvani Sharmadayini. And the English translation says, Devi is fond of true devotion and is realized through true devotion. She can be won over through true devotion and she removes all fears. So once again, this is verse 42 from the Lalita Sahasranamam. And in this verse itself, it says that Devi removes all fears. If there's any fear in your mind, you can be sure that Devi Parashakti can remove that and can simply remove that from you. It is stated that Devi likes to be worshipped as worshipped in autumn and in fall. And it's not just the fall, the seasonal fall that we go through, but it is the autumn of our lives, the very existential autumn, when all of our thoughts are turning more and more inwards. We're becoming more introspective, more retrospective, and questioning the very existence and the very purpose of our lives. So it's at this time that the need for Devi Parashakti's worship is becoming stronger. And you can simply offer your gratitude to Devi Parashakti through this E-Hundi offering. And also you can make this offering for any amount of money. It can be literally any amount, and you don't have to feel obliged or to make a substantial amount or anything. It can be anything that you can do today. And we also have two different options for making this offering. If you have any questions regarding how to make these payments, you can stay tuned until the end of the segment where we'll be going over the quick process for payment. But if you are ready right now, you can go ahead to tiny.cc/Devi-offerings and proceed to make a payment for any of these offerings. Yes, and going on to the next offering, we have the Sankalpa chanting. This is the offering of the Sankalpa on your behalf, made an offering at the feet of Devi Parashakti. This offering is literally a prayer, a very powerful mantra, which has embedded within its lines the different prayers for manifesting the great Shaktis in our life, including going beyond fear, greed, and lust, and attaining the supreme knowledge, and attaining oneness with the divine. All of these are different prayers that we make during the Sankalpa chanting and during the Sankalpa. And it's a very powerful mantra, which is blessed by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself in order to manifest anything that you want. In fact, he said that before we start the day, chanting this Sankalpa is extremely powerful, as it aligns all of our energies within inside of us. As we are chanting and creating those vibrations inside of us, it aligns all of the energies that we have towards our goal, towards our conscious resolution. That's the power of sacred Sanskrit chanting. And there's a verse from the Devi Mahatmyam, chapter 12, verse 34, where in English it means the goddess enchants this universe and she herself gives birth to this universe. That goddess, being prayed without interest in anything, gives the knowledge that leads to salvation and gives wealth in the materialistic sense. As it says here, Devi Parashakti, without interest in anything, and just simply accepting whatever you want, whatever you are giving to her, she will give back and she will bestow you with all of the blessings, the salvation, and give wealth as well as how and in whatever sense that you want it, whether it might be wealth in the currency form, wealth in relationships, wealth in abundance, and wealth in extraordinary powers, whatever it is, she will bestow that on you without asking for anything, absolutely unconditionally. Yes, let's go on to the next offering now. The next offering is the Sahasranama Swarnakasu. And in this offering, we are paying ode and tribute to Devi Parashakti, who is even called in the Lalita Sahasranamam, verse 731, the Nama Parayana Prita, which means she who likes the repetition of her various names. This is the offering of 1008 names of Devi Parashakti, and it's a very special and unique archana, which is offered to Mahameru of Devi Parashakti. At least all the 1008 energies of Devi Parashakti are chanted. And in this time, when we are doing this Sahasranamavali, it is actually a very sacred sadhana or a spiritual practice done in Sanatana Hindu Dharma and very much known and originated from Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And the chanting of the name of and all of the different names of the gods and goddesses that we worship is a sacred spiritual practice that we practice because it literally, we are cherishing the divine energies inside of our inner space. And the truth is that even if we cherish suffering or cherish any kinds of bad thought currents or negative thought currents, that is what is going to manifest in reality. If you are continuously anxious about something, exactly that will manifest in reality, and you will see that you will not be able to handle that. And exactly that will manifest and become your reality. In the same way, if we cherish positive thought currents, powerful cognitions, and the most powerful cognitions, the names and descriptions of the divine, that itself will manifest into reality. And by that, I mean, you will literally experience oneness in your life with Devi Parashakti. So in this offering, you can offer a gold coin inscribed with each and every one of the 1008 names to receive the blessings and to have the Ananta Kalyana Gunyas, all the divine qualities of Devi Parashakti. Yes, let's go on to the next slide. The next offering is the Mukta Anguti, and this is the finger ring with a pearl. And beautifully, Devi Parashakti, in her form as the incarnation, Devi Meenakshi, is as described as being adorned with pearls. And I'll now be chanting the verse from the Meenakshi Pancharatnam as a description of Devi Meenakshi. Muktaharanala Satkirita Rushiram Purnendu Vaktra Prabham Chinjannu Purikinkyani Manidharam Padma Prabhava Suram Sarvabhita Palapradam Girisutam Vani Rama Sevitam Meenakshim Pranatosmi Santatamaham Karunyavaram Nidhim. The English translation goes, I bow down to the goddess Meenakshi, whose crown has garlands of pearls and face shining like the full moon, who wears anklets and is studded with gemstones and small bells, who is shining like the splendor of a lotus, who grants all the wishes and is the daughter of the mountain, who is worshipped by goddess Vani and Rama. And I remain bowing to that goddess Meenakshi, the ocean of compassion. Yes, we can go on to the next slide. Well, the pearl is actually associated with compassion. It's a symbol of compassion. And Devi Meenakshi, out of her compassion for the entire humanity, she is the one who incarnated on planet Earth, and out of her compassion literally revived Kailasa on planet Earth. And it's at this time when human beings were all in 56 independent tribes and tribal nations around the world. And Meenakshi is the one who literally brought all of the 56 kingdoms under one rule. And she became she literally conquered all the 8 directions and then conquered Kailasa itself and had married Paramashiva, and both Paramashiva and Parashakti manifested as Lord Sundareshwara and Devi Meenakshi and ruled Madurai together. This was the very first civilization that literally united and transcended human civilization to the next breakthrough of the whole humanity. And Devi Meenakshi literally had that ambition to manifest a breakthrough for the whole humanity, and that is the compassion that she had for the whole humanity. So literally that compassion that she had is what will be bestowed on you to experience and manifest the ultimate success in all of your endeavors and all of your ambitions with this offering of the Mukta Anguti. Let's go on to the next offering. This offering is the golden lotus, the Swarna Padma Pushpa. In the Kamikagama, it is described how all the kalashas should be wound around with a suitable thread and covered with new cloth. They should be adorned with lotus flower made of gold. And there are hundreds of scriptural references for the lotus in Sanatana Hindu Dharma, and you can see it even in all of the arts and architecture. All the 7 chakras of the body are all different lotuses that when open, when they bloom, they radiate specific energies and positive energies and powers. And even the Shakti of Paramashiva is described as a lotus. The base of the Paramashiva Linga is a lotus. And even the devotees of Paramashiva are all described as lotuses which are about to bloom. And the lotus has a divine quality because in any kind of waters, in polluted waters, or even in very little water, the lotus will bloom and still radiate that elegance and that resilience that we all know and adore in the lotus. We can go on to the next slide now. So in that, you will be able to see how the lotus has such deep significance, and it is actually a representation of Devi Parashakti herself. And with this offering of the golden lotus, you can be blessed to have and radiate the state, space, powers, and being of Devi Parashakti in your inner space in any adverse situation in your life. Yes, the next slide, please. So this next offering is the Swarna Meti, the golden toe ring. And the toe ring actually originates from the Hindu scriptures, and the oldest reference for the toe ring is from the Hindu scriptures in the descriptions of Devi Parashakti. And today, even Hindu women are invoked as Devi Parashakti, and during their marriage ceremony, they literally are adorned with this toe ring because their very toes are worshipped as Devi Parashakti. And all of that goes back to the Hindu scriptures, to this very verse, which I'll now be chanting. Nakhadiditi samchana namajjana tamo guna padadvaya prabhajala parakrita saroruha. And the meaning goes, you whose brightness from toenails destroys the darkness of ignorance from the minds of your devotees, you who prostrate at your feet, you whose brightness from your 2 feet overpowers that of the lotus flower. So as you can see, literally Devi Parashakti's very feet have the power to literally remove all darkness and ignorance from you and liberate you entirely. And that is why her feet are adorned with the toe ring. So you can offer this toe ring and adorn the feet of Devi Parashakti and be in constant gratitude for receiving her blessings, even in the most difficult aspects of your life. Yes. The next offering is the Swarna Mangtika, which has reference from the Lalita Sahasranamam once again, where Devi Parashakti is described as Shuddha Sarabhi Varshani, meaning she who makes the nectar flow from our nerves from the Sahasrara, and she who gives a very pleasant experience of the ultimate. The Mangtika actually represents the nectar flowing from the Sahasrara Chakra, which is fully open. For those of you who don't know, the Sahasrara Chakra is at the crown center, and it is literally represented as 1,000-petaled lotus. And literally, when it opens and it's in full bloom, the nectar which is flowing from that lotus, which is literally the experience of enlightenment and the experience of bliss overflowing from our crown center, that is represented by the Mangtika, literally which is originating from the center of the head until our forehead, or sometimes it goes across the forehead entirely. The Mangtika is a very the ornate headpiece is a very traditional Hindu piece of jewelry, especially worn by the deities and everyone, even in the Hindu tradition. So this offering of the Mangtika, you can offer to experience the overflowing gratitude and the space of complete completion with Devi Parashakti. The next slide, please. We can go on. The next offering is the Pratyaksha Pada Puja. And this is a very special offering of a very elaborate and powerful offering at the feet of the Guru. And there are so many references, either from the Guru Gita or the Guru Paduka Stotram, about the power of the Guru's Paduka and how offering your and surrendering, offering everything you have and surrendering at the feet of the Guru is extremely powerful today. And you can offer this Pratyaksha Pada Puja as well at the feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And the next offering is the Vastra Seva, another offering that you would offer at the feet of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, of the sacred cloth, which bestows also all the auspiciousness and blessings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. The next offering, please. Yes. So this brings us to a conclusion of all of the different offerings. You can see there's a table of the different offerings: the Ehundi offering, Sankalpa chanting, the Devi Sahasranamam Kasu, the Mukta Unguti, the Swarna Padma Pushpa, the Swarna Mangtika, the Swarna Meti, the Pratyaksha Pada Puja, and the Vastra Seva. So now this brings us to the payment process. There's a 3-stage process. One is, if you are interested in this offering, if you one of these offerings piques your interest and you have that burning desire inside of you in order to offer your gratitude at the feet of Devi Parashakti, especially if you know she has already blessed and manifested in your life in so many various ways, you can you can make your intention today. You might not have the resources or the time, the money in order to immediately make an offering, but you can register for this offering and you can make the intention today. You can go to the tiny.cc/Baba Samadhi form, and in this form, you can just fill that out and you'll be able to get more information about these offerings and get the details you need in order to make this offering. And the next step we have is making the online payment. And most of us are already used to online shopping nowadays, and we just have to pull out our credit card or debit card, and you can go through this very easy 3-step process in order to make an online payment. So you'll just go to the link provided and then select the offering that you'd like to make, and then go to the next steps in order to make the payment that is required. Now, after you have finished your payment, we have a mandatory form that you have to fill in order to make sure that your names are chanted during the puja. And this is the Sankalpa 2021 form. So this is the link for the Sankalpa 2021 form. And this ensures that your names and the names of the people whom you're chanting on behalf of is also chanted, whom you're offering on behalf of is also chanted during this puja. So make sure that you go through any which one of these steps today in this payment process. We also have the YouTube super chat available as well, and you'll be able to make a donation on the YouTube super chat as well. So with this, it brings us to a conclusion of this segment in today's program, and we have next the representatives from the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peeta who are joining with us to give us the latest updates from the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peeta and the multi-layer quarantine that is ongoing in the Kailasas in India right now. We'll now be moving into the next segment. Thank you, Nithyananda.
I mean by the word Kailasa. Listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa.
I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model community. Kailasas, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvagna Peetas all over the world.
All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. It's a fundamental truth.
Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. So don't keep quiet thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystem.
I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy Hinduism by the principle of Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha. When you protect Dharma, Dharma protects you.
We will make the whole planet flourish spiritually. The spiritual prosperity will happen to the whole planet. We all have to coexist together.
Just be alive for next 3 years. Don't die within next 3 years. Just don't die within next 3 years. Be alive. Somehow be alive. I'm working sincerely. I will reach you somehow. Somehow I will reach you. It's my commitment to humanity. Just don't die within next 3 years. I will reach you wherever you are, whichever corner of the world you may be. I will reach you with enlightenment. You manifesting the space, state, powers, being Paramashivoham. It is possible, and it is possible for you. Paramashivoham will reach you with enlightenment science. I know he is going to do the job. Just be alive for next 3 years. Nothing else.
We get you health. We get you ability to build beautiful relationships in your life. We get you direct spiritual support, and we make sure you become wealthy. We won't stop giving you just good life. We will literally not stop till you live enlightened life. Manifesting the state of Paramashiva, space of Paramashiva, powers of Paramashiva, being of Paramashiva. Whole world should become Kailasians.
I want the whole world to know Hindus have something great to contribute to the world. We have something great to contribute to the world. Let us do that.
Kailasa is proper customized spiritual service helping you to identify your root patterns of suffering. We have perfected the science of helping every individual from every cultural, religious, nationality background. You will have lowest reactionary assumptions, highest awakened response, alive response for life continuously. Kailasa is enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself in your own home, wherever you are. Proper customized spiritual service helping you to compete with your life negativity, withdrawal from life, self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt, so much of tiredness, laziness. We can support you, aligning your diet, your attitude, your aptitude, your understanding about life. We can help you with everything. If you are interested in enlightenment,
Nithyanandam, welcome back. Welcome back to the segment of the Kailasa's multi-layered quarantine opportunity for India during COVID-19 as a practical solution resulting in health, joy, and bliss. And the great news is it's successfully implemented by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and it is recognized by the United Nations. So let us start our session with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivan's blessings. Let's start with the Sadguru Vandanam. Nithyanandam Paramasugadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Yes. So, Akashic readings from the Devi Parashakti on June 6th, 2021. What Devi revealed and what the state of the world statistics has proved to be revealed. Let us see in some details. The revelations to the world by Devi Parashakti on 5th June 2021. Devi Parashakti revealed through the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism that not only people dying in crores, financial and mental retardedness, you will also see minds getting collapsed. Freedom from all this suffering is the life of living enlightenment. First, prevent yourself from this deadly corona. Oh, people, do the job of saving your life as first priority. Listen properly, people. The only way to protect yourself from this overflowing cosmic pralaya and from the demonic people who search for destruction for themselves and for others because of pralaya, go to Adi Kailasa, getting shelter at the feet of Paramashiva. Save yourself from corona and death, economic crisis and mental collapse that is formed because of corona. Save yourself and move towards living enlightenment. Move towards Paramashiva, Paramporul, doing yoga and tapas, doing seva to all the devotees of Paramashiva and live a good life. Just for that, I have opened the doors of Adi Kailasa. For all those in the universe, not only human beings, as even Siddhas, Jnanis, and Yogis have come and are doing penance in Adi Kailasa. For everyone who come, goodness, prosperity, Jnanam, and Yogam will overflow. Do not have fear, bliss is there. Do not have worry, I will protect with goodness. Just for that, I have opened the doors of Adi Kailasa. For all those in the universe, not only human beings, as even Siddhas, Jnanis, and Yogis have come and are doing penance in Adi Kailasa. For everyone who come, goodness, prosperity, jnanam, and yogam will overflow. Do not have fear, bliss is there. Do not have worry, I will protect with goodness. Happiness is there, enlightenment is there. Do not have fear, bliss is there. I am solving sufferings. Samaya, I am Samayapuratu Kanatal who comes and helps at the right time. Revelations about the mental health issues by Devi Parashakti, we just saw now, and the media articles confirming the same on 6th June 2021. The global news, the psychiatric symptoms like depression, anxiety exhibited by the COVID 19 patients, a study, according to the new study, neurological symptoms like depression and anxiety are also showing to be common in those who have contracted COVID-19 even more in mild cases. The BMC Psychology on the media article confirming the same on 8th June 2021 when Devi revealed the same on 5th June 2021. The BMC Psychology published online article, The Impact of COVID-19 on the Mental Health of US College Students. The results indicate that the students closer to graduating faced increases in anxiety, which is 60.8%, feeling loneliness, which is 54.1%, and depression, 59.8%. Many reported worries for the health of loved ones most impacted their mental health status, which is 20%. And the need to take care of family most affected current and future plans, that is 31.8%. Almost one half of the students took to exercising and other remedies. The revelations about the mental health issues by the Devi Parashakti on 5th June 2021 and the research confirming the same on 10th June 2021. The rates of anxiety and depression among college students continue to soar, researchers say. The researchers at the Dartmouth College, who have tracked the moods and behaviors of about 200 college students for 4 years, say stress levels are at their highest. Dartmouth College researchers began tracking 217 students who, when they entered the school as freshmen in 2017, in the hopes of understanding how they behave. They have seen students' stress levels rise and fall, usually in tandem with midterm and final exams. But since the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, rates of depression and anxiety have soared and have showed no signs of coming down, said Andrew Campbell, a researcher and computer science professor. The Psychology Today on the coronavirus, the psychological trauma and PTSD event. Much has been said about the mental health crisis that is occurring related to the coronavirus pandemic. Much of this information has focused on the all-consuming anxiety, panic, and fear that many are experiencing. While this is important and needs to be at the forefront of discussions, something that has not been discussed is the psychologically traumatic nature of what our nation and our world is experiencing. The revelations to the world by the Devi Parashakti, the increased, which is confirmed by the various world reports, the status of the world across the reports. The increased prevalence post-traumatic stress disorder is expected to emerge as a primary factor driving the growth of the global post-traumatic stress disorder (PTSD) therapeutic market over the periods of assessment. what it used to be 2019, and this estimated increase in 11.91 by 2027. The CNN reports the coronavirus pandemic's impact on global mental health is already extremely concerning. The United Nations report that there is a high prevalence mental distress in countries across the globe due to the coronavirus pandemic, especially among healthcare workers and children. According to the United Nations and the World Health Organization, the impact of the pandemic on people's mental health is already extremely concerning. The World Health Organization's Director General Tedros Adhanom says in a news release recently. The United Nations says the coronavirus pandemic impact on global mental health is already extremely concerning. It is now crystal clear that mental health needs must be treated as a core element of our response to and recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic, the Tedros added. Yoga greatly improves mental, spiritual, and physical health. People who practice yoga experience less anxiety, less depression, and fewer symptoms of post traumatic stress disorder. Yoga also improves well being, including increased gratitude, relatedness, acceptance, centeredness, empowerment, self esteem, compassion, self awareness, and hope. Yoga can help us to manage stress, to self regulate, an important tool in the current time. We are all equipped with innate coping strategies for responding to stress, but sometimes our stress response can become out of balance. We are living in a world that regularly activates our sympathetic response, the body's way of responding to stress, sometimes called fight or flight. This is balanced by our parasympathetic response, the way our body helps us to rest and relax. Yoga can help bring our parasympathetic response back online and allows us to find balance. Activating our parasympathetic response brings us into a more restful space and allows us to find calmness, connection, and compassion. The deep mindful breathing of yoga and meditation stimulates the vagus nerve, which activates the parasympathetic nervous system and supports self regulation and stress management. Yoga can be a valuable tool for self care, especially in challenging times. Yoga is now being used as an empirically based treatment, often in combination with other inventions with benefits for both physical and mental health. Many clinicians are recommending yoga as it may help support the effectiveness of traditional treatment approaches. The psychology today, according to that, when we actively choose a tool of self-care, we better equip ourselves to survive and seek resilience in different circumstances. While it is but one tool, yoga offers the potential for connection and well-being, even in these challenging times. Researchers spirituality benefits mental health. Research shows that individuals have better mental health if they belong to a particular community or have religious beliefs. Spirituality can help people in many ways. First and foremost, spirituality or religion can help people find meaning in their lives, which is instrumental in improving one's mental health. Spirituality can perhaps help you connect with your divine self. In addition to endowing meaning to your life, it has the potential to improve mental, physical, and emotional well being as well. It has been a source of relief and comfort from various challenging issues for thousands of years. Revelations to the world by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, revealed on 22nd May 2021 that Paramashiva is very clear. Focus on making your body alive, alive. Mind is obsessive compulsive reaction. It is nothing but a bunch of unconscious reactions. Do not try to sympathize with the mind. Make your body and life alive. That is the only priority for all of you. I am talking to everyone who has a little love and sympathy for me. For all of you, take this as a guru walk. Make your body consciously strong. Gym will build muscles, make you look a very nice in the outside, but only yoga and Ayurvedic lifestyle will make your body conscious. Just see all over the world, all the gym bodies are just dropping dead. Only yoga will make your internal organs strong and your ability to manifest consciousness strong. Let me give you the solution from Paramashiva to protect yourself from this whole pralaya, not just from corona. The amount of depression, mental suffering, the way the whole world is suffering, the kind of poverty happening, people losing their jobs, income, having insecurity, comforts being lost, so much. Just make your life extremely strong. 3 years back, I said, keep yourself alive for next 3 years. I have enough evidence that 3 years back, I trained the Kailasa Vasis inside the Sangha and physically, mentally, psychologically, or consciously for quarantine lifestyle. For being active without getting mentally broken by being in one place, doing intense yoga, making the body and internal organs strong, taking bay leaf, neem juice, tulsi, haritaki, triphala churna, Ayurvedic lifestyle, the lifestyle of less food and more energy, more activism. I only told it is for an important reason. Please wake up. Quarantine yourself, build your body. Don't bother about your business or any other profit on anything else. This year, if you are alive, that is the greatest profit. United Nations recognizes the Kailasa's profit on COVID-19. United Nations recognizes the Kailasa's report on the COVID-19 and the multilateralism. The report about 2 days ago, the United Nations recognized, and you can see the screenshot of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's, the Facebook page, the article, and you can see some more screenshot of this article published in the United Nations, recognizes the Kailasa's report on COVID-19. The report published by the www.ohchr.org has led the world to be only as resilient as the least resilient country and person, especially for highly contagious COVID-19, which has spread with the scale of and severity not seen since Spanish flu. The variants of the virus, such as B.1.6, 617.2 Delta, and Delta Plus, Epsilon, and Gamma continue to threaten even those vaccinated. Secondary diseases such as black fungus are targeting COVID patients and killing almost 1 in 2 persons in such cases. Human life is more precious and important than all economic principles or systems in totality because all these concepts are legitimate only because of their utility value, which is to fundamentally make human life better. At least until this ongoing crisis ends, all economic policies related to money, banking, fixing prices, and commodities, etc., needs to be revised for making sure no human being suffer from hunger or the absence of required medical care. For this purpose, Kailasa has presented a detailed report on effective solution for COVID-19 through the multilateralism that was published by the United Nations. Now, let us see the report which was published in the United Nations. The earlier reports published by the United Nations from the Kailasa or the report on the rights of indigenous women and girls, and the second report on the femicide. This is the third report published by the United Nations. The report by the Adi Shaivite minority tradition, the ASMT, Hindu Community Kailas Union, on June 2021, the COVID-19 and multilateralism. Let us see the report in detail. The introduction. The key obstacles are the globalization of disease has led the world to be only as resilient as the least resilient country and person, especially for highly contagious COVID-19, which has spread with scale and severity not seen since Spanish flu. The variants of the virus, such as the Delta plus epsilon gamma, continue to threaten even those vaccinated. Secondary diseases such as black fungus are targeting COVID patients and killing almost 1 in 2% in such cases. Second, distorted policy decisions and conflicting principles can lead to polarizations amongst nations and within, leading to various extremes, such as the hoarding of vaccines in some places, the wastage of vaccines in others, and an unaddressed shortage of vaccines globally. The pandemic has exposed in fragility of the global system. The disruption in the supply chain is especially worrisome for essential food supplies, which disproportionately affects the already most vulnerable. Lockdowns have brought the global economy into crisis, bringing resistance and worsening unemployment rates. Frequent lockdowns and the ongoing threat of famine, especially in countries where employment is predominantly informal, are exacerbating worries that starvation may cause more suffering than the virus itself. Far more from the SDG2, zero hunger, the number is now predicted to come close to 1 billion. In the report, the concerning related supporting articles are projected now. Some more articles which are published in the supporting websites and articles, online platforms. Now, the second, solutions. First, revised economic policies. Human life is more precious and important than any economic principles or systems in totally because all these concepts are legitimate only because of their utility value, which is to fundamentally make human life better. At least until this ongoing crisis ends, all economic policies related to money, banking, fixing prices of commodities, etc., need to be revised to make sure no human being suffers from the hunger or the absence of required medical care. As per Hindu principles, the world, including the economy, evolves through 5 phases. The 5 phases are creation or growth, sustenance or stagnation, recession or revitalization, reinvention, fifth, breakthrough. As per Hinduism, conventional economic growth is observed with best practices are applied diligently. However, during times of crisis lead us to the fourth and fifth phases, wherein the need to reinvent and deliver a breakthrough becomes both a survival need and an opportunity to surpass any means and measures of conventional ongoing growth. According to the Keynesians, increased public expenditure during the Great Depression of 1929 improved economy. However, the government never completely gave up trying to balance the budget, which resulted in it never spending enough to bring the economy out of recession until the Second World War. Similarly, the current crisis requires governments to temporarily discard trying to balance economic interests that compromise quarantine safety and put human life at risk, and rather reinvent their economic strategies and multilateral coordination for benefiting during the subsequent breakthrough period after the end of the crisis. Now you can see the supporting documents supporting yes. So Hindu multilateralism, there is an immense inequality in the capacities of governments, organizations, and people on two groups: health response, and the first is the health response, and second is economic recovery. Surviving the highly contagious COVID-19, where the world is only as resilient as the least resilient country and person, requires governments, organizations, and people to collectively address the crisis. From 3200 BCE 21, 5,622 nations in Asia had multilateral treaties based on the Hindu principle, that is Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That means the entire world is my family. And from the Maha Upanishad, chapter 6, verse 71, 73.23. You can see the supporting documents here. More supporting documents. They provide sustainable community livings with multi-layered quarantine. Home or self-quarantine is not a viable solution for vast majority of people for either health safety or economic reasons. In Assam, home quarantine has been reported to be a primary reason for a large number of deaths. In some places, governments have moved people out of home quarantine to COVID care centers. Other issues linked with quarantine, especially in small houses, are mental health problems, such as an increase in suicidal suicidal tendencies, especially amongst the younger population. This requires friendly quarantine setups which are self-sustained and sufficient in terms of food stock and supplies, recreation, employment, education, etc. In India, state governments have attempted to provide free and paid solution, exorbitant pricing. Some facilities have seen challenges related to requests for private accommodation. The experimental townships, such as the Auroville, have demonstrated a fair amount of success in creating a friendly, safe, and compliant quarantine facility. However, solutions such as Auroville are not open to the public. For 2 decades, the leader of the ASMT Hindu community, Adi Shaivite minority community, Hindu community, the supreme pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, had been creating townships like Auroville across more than 100 cities in several countries. Most of these townships, such as ASMT Monastery, India, Bangalore, have been open to offer multi-layered quarantine as a free public service with free food accommodation, free internet to work from home or monastery. The ASMT community has seen a fair amount of success in these townships with zero reported cases of COVID infection in the past 2 years and has already saved many lives. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has argued citizens worldwide, especially from regions severely affected by the pandemic, to protect themselves as the topmost priority and avail these free quarantine facilities that the community has created, especially as home quarantine has failed for many and is known to be a primary reason for a large number of deaths in many scenarios. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Nithyananda Paramashivam, has emphasized the need and argued the government worldwide to provide food, safety, medical care, shelter, and all survival needs to all human beings under their care, with absolute multi-layer quarantine until coronavirus is eliminated from planet Earth, including all different strains of the virus. The transition of the Maha Upanishad, chapter 6, these are the verses 71 and 73. These are references, various references which are as supporting documents which are published in the United Nations. Educate citizens on individual pandemic management. Unlike previous pandemics, the current era provide active, real-time, and visual information about fatalities. Underreporting of this data may give false hopes and make people reckless. Exaggerations in reporting can also make people reckless as they may feel eventual death due to a coronavirus is inevitable. Proper education is extremely crucial as it will dramatically reduce the number of deaths and reduce the challenge on the healthcare systems. Alcohol-related deaths have hit a record high during this pandemic, and long post-lockdown liquor lines are some extremely worrisome issues regarding which people need to be educated. As a top priority, people need to be given confidence in their life and security about their future for them to stop behaving recklessly or fall into depression and commit suicide. Leveraging a best of different economic systems based on charity, barter, and money. Ancient Hindu economic treatise by Paramashiva, the primordial Hindu divinity, describe three kinds of economic systems and their principles. First, for things that do not perish by sharing, such as education and knowledge, Paramashiva recommends that no fee be charged. Second, for survival needs, such as food and healthcare, barter and charity are recommended. Third, for all other infrastructure development works and services and commodities, gold and conventional currency based transactions are allowed. These systems are still in practice in the modern day, but grossly overlooked and not sufficiently studied with their close relation to mainstream economics. The the WHO, the World Health Organization, and the GISAID provided early access to data regarding the virus. This is an example of an open knowledge based economic policy where the critical data about the virus was not monetized. Similarly, South Korea helped the United States of America access masks and testing kits. And there was a hope that this would lead to a reciprocal arrangement in terms of vaccines, which is like a barter based model allowed to in food and healthcare. Hindu policies for food security. A highly effective concept for ensuring food security in ancient Hindu nations was that of food grain banks. These were prevalent until the 18th century. The elderly in the villages would start food grain banks with a seed capital of grains collected by fundraising. If any person met with a crisis such as a crop failure, the food grain bank would lend him grains in exchange for an interest. The compound interest was prohibited in grain banks, which the debitor was expected to return with the principal grain amount during the next harvest. The bank would expand its reserves of food grains based on the interest earned and donations. At the time of severe crisis such as famine, the entire village would be able to withdraw these grains, and if required, all such grains loans would be written off on humanitarian grounds. In Hindu scriptures, food is shared for free as a policy. This was the case in both ancient times and in modern times. For 27 years, even every month, the Hindu ASMT community has served more than 3 million free organic meals in religious gatherings to everyone without discrimination and has served over 1 billion free meals in total. Such private and public efforts are crucial in each the threats of starvation, which is estimated to hit a billion people worldwide. Monitor global health. The crisis requires governments to take aggressive, proactive measures to monitoring health. Smartphone applications have been used by the governments that are based on health code color systems that categorize individuals into three color groups based on their health status and travel history, and then determine whether they need to be quarantined. Some more supporting articles which are published in the report. Though there were privacy related concerns associated with these approaches, some of these measures, such as agile daily reporting systems for accounting of newly suspected, diagnosed asymptomatic cases, number of deaths, and generating area-wise statistics have played an important role in proactively responding to curb the spread of the disease and are being considered for implementation by various countries. You see the supporting documents now. Next is the traditional medicine. In Hinduism, nature and planet Earth are respected as the living divine mother energies capable of providing us with all our survival needs, the food, medicines, etc. Through the traditional medicines such as TCM and Ayurveda are effective in addressing the COVID-related issues. And a few years ago, a Nobel Prize was awarded for scientific work based on traditional medicine. The mainstream Western medicine has chosen to characterize Ayurveda as a pseudo-science and TCM as unscientific. Such demeaning of traditional medicine systems have led nations to consider taking defensive unilateral decisions to protect their interests. The outright rejection of the traditional medicine is not wise, and such policies should be revised, especially as these medicine systems are time tested and have kept people healthy for several generations. Kailas Union recommends governments worldwide provide solutions like Kailasa's Hindu medicinal care, which includes completely free of charge services such as Ayurveda, yoga, Siddha, Western medicine, and multi-layered quarantine for complementing their ongoing public health efforts. You see the supporting documents here. Join now. Now having understood the world's statistics, what Devi revealed, what the world statistics and how the supreme pontiff of Hinduism successfully implementing these strategies in all his Kailasas ecosystems is now recognized by the United Nations, and you also join now and save your life. Join COVID care protection centers. Register now through the link below, https://kailasa.org/Kailasa care. When the first world countries closed their borders during a massive global emergency, Kailasa has opened its doors to all without exception. So join Kailasa Protection COVID Care Centers and protect and save your life. Hinduism reveals that at least 6 months back, I became aware that multi-layer quarantine is needed to protect people. If you are in India and you want family, anyone who will listen to you, get them immediately to our campuses. The free COVID care centers open across India are Adi Kailas in Bidadi, Bangalore, Salem Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Tirunnamalai Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Rajapalam Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Puduvai Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Pattanam Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Srirangapadi Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Sripuram Adinam in Hyderabad, Madurai Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Avatipalem Adinam in Erode, Tamil Nadu, Huzur Adinam in Tamil Nadu, Baroda Adinam in Gujarat. Kailasa rushes to help as India finds itself on the verge of COVID-19 third wave. The multiple free COVID care centers open across India. The various social services offered during the pandemic in Nithyananda ashrams across India. The spiritual services offered during pandemic in Nithyananda ashrams across India. The cosmic revelations on global pandemic. The free social services offered during the pandemic in Nithyananda ashrams across India. The medical care, which includes allopathy, Ayurvedic, and Siddha medicine. The fire safety equipment maintenance, infrastructure to accommodate thousands, and accommodation for multi-layered quarantine, emergency ambulances and ICU on wheels, personal protective medical equipment, groceries collected for Annadan, and organic farming. Join now in COVID care protection centers. Register now through the link below https kailasa.org/Kailasa care. Now, let us see some of the glimpses from the the Department of Health on COVID protection for Adi Kailasa Sarvajna Peetham. The immunity boosters and COVID care supplements. The supplements procurement are allopathic immune boosters, which include zinconia, vitamin D, and vitamin C. Through the Ayurvedic medicine, the immunity boosters are being provided to protect all the residents of Adi Kailasa. The steaming once a day with the tulsi, eucalyptus, nochi, and turmeric leaves. All these herbal leaves are taken from the healing trees here in Adi Kailasa. Twice a week, consumption of Kabasura Kundanir, a mixture of pepper, ginger, and clove, and other ingredients. Extensively aimed for boosting the lungs, improving the respiratory system, and treating infectious conditions such as cough, cold, and fever. Neelavembu Kundanir to be taken once a week. Agastya Lehyam 5 days a week, 5 days. Talisadi Vatakam 3 to 4 tablets per day for 5 days, and Indu Ganta Kashayam, and then Amrutottara Kashayam, both for 5 days, 1 teaspoon with 50 ml of warm water. Sudarshana Gulika once every 5 days, gargling with salt and turmeric twice a day, spiritual routine which includes of Panchakriya, taking Haritaki, taking castor oil and neem juice, Pratama Vinyasa Krama, the daily Nitya Yoga, and Trinetra Kumbhaka, the Pranayama and Puja. The basic sanitization and safety practices, which includes disposal of soiled pads, the infected material and non-biodegradables done through incineration, the RO water systems for drinking water, cleansing and sanitization of overhead tanks, regular reading, maintenance and repairs of electrical circuits, communication facilities for safety of the residents, compost pit fitting with biodegradables. The diagnosis of COVID care quarantine methodology. Immediately upon arrival to the campus, occupants will be quarantined for 15 days. Swab test of RT-PCR test to be done by on day 5th of quarantine. All food handlers to be wearing mask and gloves and keeping a distance. Disposal of waste food to be done with gloves and mask. Disposal of gloves and mask by the incineration. In case of an emergency, protective kits ready at hand to take a COVID positive patient to hospital. Hand washing and infection control. Washing hands as often thoroughly with soap and water or with alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Avoid sharing any items, that is, example, dishes, drinking glasses, cups, eating utensils, towels, bedding, or other items with other residents in the Adhinam. The mask protection, which wear a mask at all times when and if exposed to vendors or outside people. Double layer cotton mask should be changed every day up to 24 hours and can be reused after washing by saliva, secretions or sweat change. Change it and wear a dry mask. The wet mask can be stored in a sealed plastic cover and washed with a detergent and reused later. You can see the pictures of the mask. A face shield will be provided as an extra protective wear for people at the gate interacting with the vendors and outsiders. Use of hand sanitizer, hand washing, regular streaming, taking of preventive kashayams. Kashayams are the herbal preparations, and turmeric salt water gargling, history of any exposure. If symptoms appear, that is, which includes but not limited to cough, fever, difficulty in breathing, he or she immediately inform the medical person in charge immediately. The standard operating procedures and the quarantine rules. First line of quarantine, people in the first circle who are in contact with vendors. Area of stay confined to the outermost area where communication with the outside is happening with vendors, etc. Stay in a well ventilated single room, preferably with an attached separate toilet. Persons should not come into contact with inmates of Adhinam, especially elderly people, pregnant women, children, and persons with comorbidities. That is, includes hypertension, diabetics, heart problems, asthma, etc. Restricts his or her movement within the area or room, first line of quarantine. The delivery packages, all parcels received at the gate to be sanitized, spraying with the disinfectant. All deliveries will be contactless delivery. Wearing of face coverings and hand gloves are an option, or request the delivery to be left in a protected and isolated place. The outer packaging of the item or product will be disposed before it enters the Adhinam. Packages will be quarantined before being delivered. All the delivery bags, boxes, and containers will be thrown away after transferring the items to their respective places. The surfaces of the packages will be cleaned with a simple disinfectant and left to dry. All handling the packaging will be thoroughly washed with soap and water and or antibacterial solution frequently. All mail and packaged products that are non-perishable will be left outside for 24 hours before using them. Disinfection, which is sodium hypochlorite, bleach, and chloride, will be used. The 1 teaspoon of bleaching powder in 3 cups. Alcohol at 70 to 90% will also be used for surface disinfection. Clothes to be washed separately with the detergent and dried. Sharing of items is strictly prohibited. This prevents the spread of the virus. The warning signs, which includes fever continues for more than 5 days, fever returns to the second week after having been for a day or two, fever more than 101 Fahrenheit after day 4, resting heart rate over 110 when there is no activity happening, breathlessness and tightness in the chest. Oxygen saturation, which is less than 94% on pulse oximeter, and 6-minute walk test record the saturation rate before and after walking briskly for 6 minutes. If the saturation falls by more than 3%, it is not favorable. And less than 90% is not good too. Relentless cough, that is continuous coughing. You can see the pictures of these in-campus ambulances. You can see more pictures of these in-campus ambulances. Prevention is the best medicine. Second line of quarantine. People who come in as newly will be given a separate room with toilet facility. Under no circumstances will they exit the room. The designated quarantine person picks up the food after the person who serves the food is at a safe distance of 6 feet. The food will be placed outside the door. Monitor the temperature pulse rate and oxygen saturation levels once a day and more often if the person is symptomatic. Please speak with medical team. Take paracetamol if temperature is more than 99 Fahrenheit. Ensure good hydration. Have a nutritious diet and stream inhalation twice day. Salt and turmeric hot water gargling twice daily. Ayurvedic and Siddha medication will be given as per instructions. Doctor will be contacted if there is a worsening of symptoms for scientific management, specific management, which could be further consultation, investigations, treatment. Doctor will be contacted if there is a worsening of symptoms for specific management, which could be further consultation, investigations, and treatment. Residents will be asked to continue taking medicines if they are on any blood pressure, sugar, or heart elements. Doctors will be consulted if comorbid conditions pose a higher risk. Residents on medication will be asked to bring 2 months of supply till the Adhinam is able to organize the medications for them. Residents will be asked to take a long deep breath, pranayama, lie in prone position, that is on the tummy, as much as possible so that the lungs expand well. If there is no symptoms, the person will come out of quarantine after a total of 15 days. The test will not be repeated if clinically well. If there are symptoms, the person will need to be retested and need medical opinion and necessary investigations and treatment. The common symptoms which will looked out for are fever, sore throat, fatigue, that is excess tiredness, cough, mostly dry, wet in some, body aches, headaches, loose stools, vomiting, loss of sense of smell, loss of sense of taste, exhaustion, giddiness, and fainting. Previous mentioned symptoms will be provided with immediate evaluation and hospital care. Early detection of these warning signs and identifying the timeline is very crucial for better outcome. These will be monitored very closely and is the most important thing that needs to be done. Identifying day one of symptoms is very crucial in the management with respect to monitoring and treatment protocols. Day one would be when the very first symptom started. Investigate for the possible source of contact. All the people who have come in close for contact, that is 3 to 6 feet range, with the primary case in the last 3 days need to be isolated separately and monitored for symptoms as well. Infectivity starts 0 to 3 days before the onset of symptoms, and the infected person sheds the virus till 9 days. Any of the above symptoms in various combinations signals the possibility of COVID. Even though the same symptoms can happen with any viral infection in a pandemic, it is to be considered as the possible diagnosis until proven otherwise. Rare presentations are known. Rash on body, bluish discoloration of the fingers and toes, sudden onset of breathlessness, heart attack and strokes, paralysis of the limbs. Any suspect case should be immediately isolated. The RT-PCR is to be asked for and symptomatic people immediately. The contacts will monitor for symptoms and will get tested if any symptoms show up. Else to wait for 5 days. If they continue to be asymptomatic, they can check their status thereafter. A negative report ensures they can move into the community. Instructions followed by the lead. Only an assigned member will be tasked with the taking care of the quarantined person. Use disposable gloves when cleaning the surfaces or handling any solid linen of individual. Washing of hands after removing gloves. No visitors to be allowed in the vicinity of the quarantined person. In case the person being quarantined becomes symptomatic, all the close contacts taking care will be quarantined for 15 days and followed up for an additional 15 days or till the report of such a case turns out negative on lab testing. Environmental sanitization, which includes clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces in the quarantined person's room. That is examples, bed frames, tables, etc. Daily with bleach solution. Clean and disinfect toilet surfaces daily with a regular household bleach solution, the phenolic disinfectant. Clean the clothes and other linen used by the person separately using common household detergent and dry. The Adhinavasis coming into the Adhinam must take the following medical test. Result to be sent to Dr. Ma Santan Lakshmi. Please email to her at ma.santanlakshmi@nityanandauniversity.org. Results will be reviewed by the medical team at the ASJP female campus, Dr. Ma Atmananjana and Dr. Ma Santan Lakshmi and RN Ma Chandravidya. The medical test mandatory requirements are blood tests, which include the series of complete blood count with peripheral smear, blood group type, fasting and post prandial blood sugar, renal function test, blood area and serum creatinine, VDRL test, HPSAG test, HIV test, thyroid function test, serum T3, T4, TSH, ECG test, liver function test, and lipid profile test. Please get your RT-PCR test for COVID-19 taken 2 days before coming into the Adhinam and sent it to the previous mentioned email address to get clearance. The medical team will communicate to the admin of the respective Adhinam with regards to the medical status and approval status. Once communicated, the person should come into the Adhinam within 14 to 48 hours of the test. If there are any pre-existing medical issues like hypertension, diabetics, or any other chronic diseases and comorbid situations, please bring in the recent reports and the prescription from the attending doctor. A medical form will need to be filled in by all the new occupants. A legal disclaimer will also be required to be signed. All the people in quarantine will be monitored for temperature rise, oxygen status, and other symptoms during the period of quarantine. Anyone with symptoms should be reported immediately. The designated quarantine person will be responsible to monitor the pulse oximeter and temperature daily. The equipment should be sanitized after every use, and knowledge for the same will be given by the medical team. The report of these recordings will be reviewed by the medical team daily. During the quarantine period, certain Ayurvedic and Siddha preparations, streaming saline and turmeric water gargle and other immune booster will be given by the caregivers, which has to be followed strictly. So with all these rules, so many and rules and regulations to take care of the inmates and take care of the maintaining the sanitation of the Adhinam. You can see it now on the screen. In case of emergency, the ambulances, oxygen concentrator in emergency, with all the facilities, you are very well taken care. And join these COVID care protection centers and save your life, protect your life. And register now through the link below, https://kailasa.org/Kailasa care. So register with this link. Link is projected on the screen. And with this, let's move on to next segment. Let's prepare for the darshan of the Devi. So thank you so much. Let's move on to the next segment after a very short break.
What I mean by the word Kailasa, listen intensely. Enlightenment ecosystem, literally enlightenment itself, in your own home, wherever you are. If you cannot come to Kailasa, it's okay. Kailasa can come to you. Kailasa coming to you is Kailasa.
I will revive Hinduism. I am a Hindu revivalist, not by any revolution, but by evolution. And setting model communities. Kailasas, enlightenment ecosystems, Sarvanya Pitas all over the world.
All powerful cognition, knowledge, only when you live, power manifestation and possibilities manifestation happens. It's a fundamental truth.
Hinduism cannot live exclusively as one sampradaya. No. All sampradayas of Hinduism is an ecosystem. So don't keep quiet thinking that if one sampradaya is attacked, only that sampradaya is going to be affected. All of us are ecosystem.
I invite all of you to get involved and enjoy Hinduism by the principle of Dharmo Rakshati Rakshitaha.
Nithyanandam, welcome back to all of the viewers who are joining with us across the world for this Devi Parashakti Akashic reading program. I'm sure each and every one of you are eagerly awaiting the divine darshan of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism manifesting as Devi Parashakti. And I'm sure that each and every one of you are preparing your questions, preparing yourselves and getting ready for the Devi Parashakti Akashic reading. This is a good time also if you'd like to offer any kind of naivedyam, or if you'd like to make any of the offerings that are available that we went over in the previous segment. You can take time right now and explore more of these offerings at the links provided in the scroll below. And you can also make different naivedhyams and prepare for the Panchopachara Puja, which will be offered upon the darshan of Devi Parashakti. And as we are having the live darshan of Devi Parashakti, it is now a very good time that we can get prepared for the divine presence of Devi Parashakti. I'm sure many of you are eagerly awaiting and preparing your questions, thinking of what you can ask. And we'll also be going over soon how you can ask your questions and the different ways that you can ask your questions. And before we are going into the next segments of today's program, today you were able to just now see the various different contributions from Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham, which the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has contributed to the world over the last 27 years, since 1994. Upon the beginning and upon his coronation, the Yoga Pattabhishekam and the coronation of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism as the incarnation of Paramashiva. And since then, continuously, day in and day out, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been working, enriching one person at a time with the beautiful teachings from Sanatana Hindu Dharma, reviving these teachings, mapping it to the modern day mind and giving it in a very user-friendly, capsule-packed way, where it is absolutely easy for us to experience and for us to start manifesting the powers of Paramashiva. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is actively working on forging a world where each person, each living being has the right to enjoy the life which is absolutely conflict-free and blissful and having a powerful existence. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is reviving the teachings from Sanatana Hindu Dharma in order for this lifestyle to be catered to each and every individual and to be available for each and every individual being on planet Earth. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing so by focusing on the root causes which are undermining the expression of infinite potential in each and every sentient being, including gender-based violence, including religious prejudice or racial discrimination, animal cruelty, and global warming. Each and every one of these are recognized problems that we are facing in our daily life and not having the solutions for. But by bringing these Hindu solutions, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is literally ensuring that each and every one of us is empowered and able to manifest our infinite potential, the expression of pure consciousness. And today we are living in a world with institutionalized and normalized patriarchy, misogyny beyond all kinds of legal and means that you cannot even fathom. The amount of gender-based violence that we have seen working against the women of Kailasa over the last 2 decades, just in the last 2 decades, is a extreme to the point of even the rape and brutal gang rape of some of the Hindu women sannyasis who have been through, even at the hands of people who are supposed to protect them and authorized by the authorities and officials to protect them. And continuously over the last month, we have been presenting to each and every one of you the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And on the other side, what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is doing for the world despite so much persecution. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, out of his utmost compassion, has continued to heal the world and bring the science of healing, which is capable of much more than any modern day medicine, to the world, despite having been attacked and having gone through so many assassination attempts himself against his character as well as against his own person. And these terrifying incidents of assassination attempts against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism have been recorded. The horrendous attacks against the women of Kailasa have been recorded, and by the Observatory for Femicide, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has generated through the Sri Kailasa Uniting Nations for Feminine Empowerment. And these records have been generated as reports and submitted to the international peacekeeping authorities, and specifically the United Nations. And recently, this last month, we have been extremely happy across Kailasas in the whole world, be able to announce and share with everyone that the United Nations has recognized the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and thus has recognized the 1,000-year Hindu genocide which has been happening against Hindus, and literally been enslaving an entire Hindu population for so many years, beginning with thousands of years back with the invasion of the Mughals and the brute force attacks, the sheer destruction of millions of temples, the looting of trillions of dollars of worth of gold and jewels and ornaments and sacred objects that were entirely looted from the temples of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the destruction of the Hindu temples, and the endangerment and extinction of the ancient lineages of Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Today, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the sole hope for reviving Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And because of this, he has been the target of ruthless attacks against him and his character. And yet, still today, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism works to bring to each and every one, every living being on planet Earth, the super conscious breakthrough. In this next segment, we will be understanding the various different attacks against the women of Kailasa, which have been reported to the UN and accepted. And in fact, in the Kailasa's SPH JGM Facebook page, SPH JGM Nithyananda Facebook page, the official Facebook page, there's a pinned post for the UN recognizing the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. You can go and see the links where the persecution against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been recognized and published by the United Nations. And even the reports that are submitted will be announced and told during the 76th General Assembly of the United Nations happening this year. Now, let us enter into a breakdown of the various different attacks that have been happening against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and the women of Kailasa. It is due to the strong stand that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has taken for each and every one of us, including myself, that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been a target for relentless attack by the neo-Hindutva militant forces. And thus they wanted to eliminate the one hope for the entire revival of Hinduism and destroy the immense amount of work that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has done for reviving Hinduism. And the truth starts with, even in the last segment, in Adi Kailasa Sarvagnipitam, we've just learned about the various different contributions of Adi Kailasa Sarvagnipitam, whether it comes to the Nityananda Gurukul or the Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Devalayam or Nithyananda Sacred Arts Universities, tremendous amount of work has gone into establishing this great kshetra, this spiritual energy hub for reviving Hindu traditions and reviving the whole of Hinduism. And it has successfully been accomplished by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And the institutionalized and normalized ideologies of patriarchy, which are prevailing in the outside society, took no hold and no place inside of the Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham. In fact, Adi Kailasa Sarvagna Peetham was the exemplar model ecosystem the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism created for all of the model Kailasas across the world. And today we can say successfully Kailasas across the world are the foremost leading ecosystems without any kind of violence in the institution and the administration against women. And in fact, 2/3 of leadership positions in Kailasas across the world, in the administrative structure of Kailasa, are filled by women themselves. And in Kailasas across the world, a woman can safely walk without the fear of any kind of violence, and with the ultimate protection and safety empowering her to express her inner strength and express the various different energies, the creative energies in various forms that she wishes to do so, be that in the forms of the expression as a Rudra Kanya or a Bhairavi or a sannyasi, or as a leader, as an administrator, as an acharya or a yogacharya, even as a puja-acharya. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has literally enabled women, Hindu women, to reclaim what our ancestry and Hinduism has given us as a rightful heritage and a rightful ideology that we can live up to. And ultimately, that is why we decided we wanted to live in the Adinams that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism established. We wanted to exercise our right to be Jnanacharyas, the acharyas or teachers for teaching Sanatana Hindu Dharma. We wanted to exercise the right that Hinduism gave us to worship and to offer the worship at the feet of our God, and literally be able to even offer and perform worship in the Garbha Mandirs of the sacred temples. And even though this is an integral part of Hinduism itself, and the women of Hinduism were such a fundamental role in the temple ecosystems and the whole ecosystem itself, due to the 1,000-year-long Holocaust and the institutional violence against Hinduism, today women are not even able to exercise that right, even in so many of the temples. Until today, the Madras Act, which was enforced in the 1800s by the British occupation, is still in effect, and still women are not allowed legally to be employed by the temple, to work for the temple, with completely baseless excuses to give as to why this has still not been corrected. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the only leader of Hinduism who is bold enough to take a strong stance for women of Hinduism, the Hindu women, allowing each woman to exercise her right to perform worship, to become a sannyasi, to live a life without fear of being violated. That is the life that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has given successfully to each and every one of us. And I myself can say, as a child, I grew up in this ecosystem, and that was the fearless way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through the ecosystem established even thousands of miles away from India, in a corner of Seattle, Washington, he was able to establish successfully. And yet, the amount of violence that I myself and the Hindu sannyasis have been targets for is absolutely unprecedented and can only be explained as to be an intentional strategy, cunning strategy to absolutely destroy Sanatana Hindu Dharma and wipe out the last hope there is for Sanatana Hindu Dharma. And we have seen this in several different ways, whether it is the persecution by politically owned media, the persecution by state authorities, or the violent sexual objectification of the ASMT or the women sannyasis or Hindu nuns of Kailasa. And it surfaced to the world in 2010 through the Indian media, which is owned by neo-Hindutva militant forces who have a clear agenda for thousands of years against Hindu sannyasis and against Hinduism itself. Whichever opportunity they have, they take to absolutely demoralize, dehumanize the Hindu sannyasis and objectify them with the worst kind of violent statements. And we saw these examples being used against each and every woman sannyasi during the 2-decade-long persecution. And I'd just like to give a brief of the report that was submitted to the United Nations, which was accepted by the United Nations and is now published on the website for the Human Rights Commission of the United Nations on the persecution that was done against the politically owned media inside India. This started with the sensational screening and manufacture of misinformation and hate speech, marginalizing minority communities, especially targeting women with the use of deepfake technology, which is a morphing technology that can be used to morph any kind of video. And in 2010, using this technology, a fabricated video was broadcasted internationally, sensationally, and was used to defame one of the ASMT or the sannyasis of Kailasa, Ranjita, and also her guru, who is the supreme pontiff of Hinduism. And the new Hindutva affiliated media had published articles, more than 10,000 articles within just a month of this video being broadcasted, with pictures of the ASMT female monks, the Hindu female monks of Kailasa, and targeting them and targeting minor girls as well by publishing pictures as well as morphing their pictures in national newspapers. And these violations against the human rights of women and Hindu women is ongoing and completely made invisible to the international audience. As well, in the media, they refer to all of the women of Kailasa, all of the Hindu women of Kailasa as brainwashed, as prostitutes, and as being witches, and also as cult worshippers. And by doing this,